Welcome everyone to episode 27 of This Week in Geek. My name is Ren Geekness and I'm joined as always by my co-host Zach Pope. How are you doing today, Zach?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just not at the London Film Festival, so that's sad. You're getting to see everything, and I'm not going to see all this shit till like November, December.
I mean, it doesn't start until Wednesday, but I have quite a few packed days until then. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, whether you're watching us live right now on YouTube or you're listening to us on Spotify while on a run, on a jog, on a commute, or while you're working out. No matter how you're finding us, thank you for finding us. And of course, we're going to get started with our main topic, which today is going to be discussing that amazing Last of Us trailer. And then we're going to move on to your questions. How do you ask questions? Easy. There's one of three ways you can ask questions. You can leave your questions in the community tab, and we'll do our best to get to them in time for the show, to answer it in the show. Or you can actively support the channel while you ask great questions through the tip link or super chat in the description below. And of course, those questions are guaranteed to be answered during the show. But of course, the way we start this off is with our weekly ranking. That's when we look back on our entire week of watching movies and TV shows, because that's what we do here, and rank them from worst to best. And so today I am going to start, and Zach, I watched it. I watched Rob Zombie's The Monsters. For some reason, I started off my week with that. Well, I started off my week with something else, but Monday I watched it. And I have a review up, so you don't have to watch it, and we'll just leave it at that. That's literally the kindest thing I can say about it.
There's a critic in Arizona that gave it a 4 out of 5.
Fuck off. There's no way. There's no way.
I'm not joking.
There's no way he's serious, that is.
I'm not joking. We can talk later off.
We'll talk later.
I was.
Yeah, that's not.
I'll tell you this. I watched 10 minutes of it. Did you finish? You finished the entire thing?
I saw the whole thing. Otherwise, I would never review it.
It's 2 hours long, right?
Almost, yeah.
See, I watched 10, and I said, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Why Netflix bought that? I would have just let it die.
No idea, dude. Like, they didn't buy Holmes and Watson. I don't know if this is worse than Holmes and Watson, but Holmes and Watson.
I never even saw Holmes and Watson.
Holmes and Watson has a better production. It clearly has more of a budget behind it. So, I don't know. Anyway, on top of that, but not much, not by far, we're going to have Netflix's newest original, which I watched after our show last week. I watched this in the evening, and that is Lou, starring Allison Janney as an action star, and she is awesome. I love her, but this film is just very generic. It's very, another Netflix action thriller that's an old person being badass, blah, blah, blah. It's just very okay. Very below average.
A typical Netflix movie.
Exactly. It's the quintessential Netflix movie. And apart from that, those are the only two bad things I watched this week. Over that, I'm going to have Hocus Pocus 2. And by the way, Hocus Pocus 1 might as well be in here because I also watched that one because I had never seen it before. So when I saw that I had screeners, I was like, okay, let's watch the first one and then watch the second one. And I'll say they're both on par. They're totally not my thing, but I understand how people that grew up with them love them and they mean a lot to you. I think the second one is better. I think the second one has more character depth, if we want to call it that, to it. But they're pretty okay. They're just not my thing. I'm glad I watched them once so I can participate in the conversation, but I'll probably never watch these again. Over that, the second film I watched at pre-festival screenings for LFF, and that is Sundance Festival favorite, Emily the Criminal. The best thing I can tell you about this film is that I'm finally happy to see Aubrey Plaza doing something that is not April Ludgate version 755. She's really good at this.
Movie. I low-key love this movie.
She delivers a gripping performance. I did not know she was capable of this, and she clearly hasn't shown this ability before in her life, because every performance I've seen from her, I want to be convinced, but it's always April Ludgate. So really happy to see this. I think the film itself is more generic, but it's solid. It's effective enough. but I quite liked Aubrey Plaza in it. On top of that, we're going to have, and I have several 3 stars here, several solid, not great, but solid movies that I watched this week. And so I'm going to have, it's rough. I'm going to have The Greatest Beer Run Ever. This is a really heartfelt, enjoyable little road trip comedy that's about friendship and loyalty. Zac Efron is wonderful in this role. It's based on a true story. It's directed by Peter Farrelly, who gave a Screen Book. And I thought the real life story and the potential that it gives to this narrative are much better than the actual end product itself. Because the whole thing ends up converging into this war is bad story. And I just thought that was kind of superficial for what a story like this could have achieved in terms of depth. Over that, I'm going to have the movie that I watched last Saturday after we finished our show, and that is Ticket to Paradise. This was lovely. I was delighted all the way through. It's very familiar, doesn't reinvent the wheel, doesn't want to reinvent the wheel, but as much as they've never been, some of my favorite actors, George Clooney and Julia Roberts, share illegal levels of chemistry. They're just stupid good together. So this is a really enjoyable romp. You guys go check this out if you haven't, because I was genuinely surprised. It's not amazing, not out of this world, but if you just want a good, enjoyable, put a smile on your face and making you feel good kind of comedy, this is the one for you. On top of that, I'm going to have Smile. This film is very familiar. It hits on several familiar tropes that bring it down a few notches, but the direction is sensational. The scares are amazing. The mythology is fantastic. The characters actually have depth. You are able to care about the characters and be emotionally invested in their journey. The sound design is out of this world good, and the needle drops from the score are excellent. This film creates a brand new horror mythology that I hope continues to come back, because there's promise in that. The ending doesn't quite land for me, but up until then, really good stuff. On top of that, I'm going to have this week's episode of She-Hulk. This is one of the best episodes of the series thus far. I know that's not saying much. Like, I'm not loving the show anyway, but this episode is really good. This episode focuses on the right things and illustrates the true potential that this show could have achieved all along. I don't know that I put it over episodes 2 or 1 myself, but it is really, really good. Over that, I'm going to have I'm going to have my first LFF movie, Triangle of Sadness. This comes all the way from Cannes. This won the Palme d'Or. I am not a fan of The Square, which is the director's last movie. And while the third act felt very jumbled for me, it just never quite found its footing. Up until then, the first and second acts are an absolute riot. I haven't laughed this much in a film since the Nicolas Cage movie. And while Zach disagrees, you know how much I laughed in that movie. So this is one you gotta watch, and watch it with a crowd, because it is violently funny in the way it attacks everything and everyone from every political side, every social circle. Just, if you are a person, this film will probably attack you at one point, but it will make you laugh about it. And on top of that, I'm going to have this week's episode of Andor. I thought it felt a bit too slow, but just in the context that last week we got 3 episodes. We had 3 big adventures that advanced the story, and this one, because we just had 1, felt slower than usual. So just in context of how much we got last week and how much we got this week, it felt just a little bit too slow for my taste. And on top of that, I'm going to have The Woman King. Finally watched it. It's coming out this upcoming week over here in the UK, and it's really good. I think the story itself just doesn't risk too much. This is a film that desperately needed, and I usually never say this. Like, I usually am not bothered whatsoever by this, but this film really needed to be rated R to push it to the next level. The characters are sensational. Lashana Lynch is incredible. This is the best performance I've seen from her. Captain Marvel, in Bond, anything. This is her movie, even though she's not the main character. But yeah, this is really fun. The action is still quite good despite cutting away from the violence. And at number 1, I'm going to have nobody else watch this. Zach didn't watch this. None of you guys watched this, but I'm going to have the final part of the second season of Power Rangers Dino Fury, which took this season from a good season that I quite enjoyed to a great season in the almost 30-year history of the series that is about to celebrate its 30th anniversary next year. And I'm very excited to see what comes next. So that's my long-winded weekly ranking. Zach, you're up.
Say that one more time. Sorry, there was like an ad playing at the same time when I was trying to pull up my list, and then I was
That's
like,
my long-winded weekly ranking. So now it's your turn. That's all
perfect. So I'm probably gonna forget some of the shows I watched, but let's dive into this. So at my bottom, it's Amsterdam. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't hate it. I actually liked it. But I didn't fully enjoy it, like, if that makes sense. I think the reason that I got into it was because of the friend element, like that best friend element between Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington, and just them getting in, like, they got into a mess. And I if it wasn't for those characters, I wouldn't be able to really care. And I'll be honest, like, when it comes down to a lot of David O. Russell movies, I thought about it and I'm like, most of the time his narrative fucking sucks. Like, most of the time his narrative is terrible. But the characters and the performances are like what always like comes in. I don't get how he's able, like, I know all the stuff behind the scenes, but I really don't get how he gets actors to sign on. It's like, is it like a movie 43 situation where he's like, hey, we got Christian Bale, do you want, you know what I mean? Like, is that how he gets them on, you know? But I don't think anything will ever live up to Silver Linings Playbook. That's still his best movie. So I didn't hate this movie, but I liked it way more than a lot of other people. Exactly, yes. But I think that might also be because everyone was shitting on it. So I went in with like the lowest of expectations and walked out going, oh, it wasn't that bad. There's way worse movies. But up next,
I will agree with that last point. I will agree with that last point.
That
there are worse movies, sure.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my review when the embargo lifts.
Yeah, it's very
on Tuesday.
That's the thing that's weird to me is like there's a Rotten Tomatoes score now. So, like, did the embargo get lifted early? So that's the only reason I'm talking about it is because
maybe there's a different embargo for you in the US and in the UK.
Well, so like Ticket to Paradise,
we have it.
Our embargo's not like 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks from now.
What? Do you not have the movie out?
No, it comes out like the end of October. It comes out like the week before Black Adam.
I should have reviewed that then. I didn't know that. I thought it was out everywhere. I didn't watch it early. No. I just went to watch.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It's not out yet.
It's out. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
It was supposed to come out on the 16th, and then it didn't because the Queen died.
Oh, that makes sense. But up next for me is She-Hulk. This episode was way better than the week prior. I like the dynamic. I felt very relatable to Tatiana's character, Jennifer. I've been there where I'm checking my fucking phone multiple times, and I've been there. And can we just all say it 1, 2, 3? I'm not going to spoil it, but just fuck. What's his name? Josh. Fuck Josh. Yeah. Fuck Josh. So I overall, I like this show, but not fully loving it. Next week, if it's not Daredevil, why did you market him? Why? Because we still don't have him or Frogman. So like. Why did you market those two things?
It's both in one episode, Zach. Can you believe
Probably.
It's Daredevil and Frogman?
Daredevil better be in every fucking scene. I'm just letting you know that right now. Daredevil better be in every fucking scene. Oh, they're totally fucking. From everything I've understood, they're fucking. Like, yeah. I hope they do. I want Matt to get it in. I want Matt to get it in, man. He deserves it. He's back in the MCU, and now he wants to fuck. Fucking fine with me. Up next after that, though... Up next after that, though, we have Hocus Pocus 2. I enjoyed this. I don't like it as much as the first, but I did grow up with the first one, so maybe that's kind of a part of the reason. I think there's elements that are actually better in the second one, but it's the same thing that I have with a lot of spiritual sequels and comedies that kind of come out of this, is they do a lot of relevant jokes to today. And for me, personally, it gets a little bit annoying when movies do that. That's just my personal opinion, though. After that, we would have Andor. I think Andor episode 4 is great. I love how they're continuing to establish it, and it just feels like it's, again, the calm before the reckoning. There's just more shit to come. I loved meeting that rebel group, that little smaller individual group, and that museum
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly. And the museum that
Love it.
Skarsgård is in, so
It's
many
full of
awesome
Easter
Easter
eggs.
eggs. Yeah, remember Grace
Finally,
Randolph?
the
How
show
she
is
said,
worth watching.
yeah,
There are Easter
exactly.
eggs.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I'm loving Andor. That's a really good show. I feel like I'm forgetting some shows. Oh, yeah. Okay, so next I have Smile. I was not excited for this movie whatsoever. I thought the trailers looked terrible. Reminded me of Truth or Dare. And I watched
I
it.
agree.
I did not sleep
Such a
good that
blast.
night. I genuinely, and you know what's funny? Like, I don't even think it's a great movie. Like, I think it's a solid, good movie, but that has really good scares. Like, the story itself is very repetitive. It's too long. The point, like, literally, the way to break this thing going on, I would have just gone and done it. I sounds fucked up, but like, like I would have just done it in some way, shape, or manner. Like, fuck this thing. But I will say shout out to the director for doing a lot of practical effects towards the back half.
Yes.
Because the thing is actually really
The
terrifying.
design is so
Is
fucking
yeah,
frightening.
it
Holy
is,
shit.
and that's the reason I didn't go to sleep, is because that thing was engraved in my fucking head. It still is. So as stupid as this concept is, the film knows what it is. It knows how stupid the idea is, but it's
and by the way, sorry, it sets it up right at the
good.
beginning. Right in the
Yep.
first 5 minutes, you get the description, and then you get to see it at the end. Yeah.
And it's really smart. Like, I'm excited to see what this director does next. Like, he did a very solid job. And Susie Bacon, man, Kevin Bacon's daughter. Good job to her. So I liked Smile. It was good, and I would end up buying this on Blu-ray, like when it's cheaper.
Same.
Like I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah,
Up next,
I wouldn't give it $30, but I'd give it 15 or maybe even 20.
Yeah, I'd do the same thing. But up next, I have Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Episode 6. This is the best episode of the season, and it's not because it's the big action episode. No, this is an episode that is very designed in a way to further this story in a very great way. And this is kind of something that should have happened 2 episodes ago. I've liked this show a lot. It's just my biggest issue is they're taking way too long at certain times. Like they gotta build this shit up and move it along. But after this episode and the ramifications that happen at the end, which I'm not going to talk about because you have not caught up, and maybe some of you guys haven't either. I feel like now this season and the show itself can start going, okay, now we know what's going on. Like now
Is it 8 episodes or 10 episodes?
It's 8. It was originally supposed to be 10. So I don't know what happened there. So yeah, hopefully the next 2 are as awesome as this one. Yeah. In my second place for this week is House of Dragons episode 7. I can give my non-spoiler thoughts.
Oh, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Did they give you
it? I have it.
Oh, okay.
I still haven't seen it.
Absolutely watch it before the episode premieres if you can.
I will. I have to put up a spoiler review.
This episode changes everything. I genuinely mean that.
That's my title for last week's episode.
See? And so this is the thing that's crazy is so like people were telling, like I had a friend text me and she's like, hey, I don't know if you're going to watch the episode or if you got it. Do not go on social media when this episode premieres if you are not watching it. Because she told me there's something in here that happens. And I was like, okay. 30 minutes in, I'm like, I wonder what that thing is. Then it happens, and I'm like, oh, dear God, that's a big, big thing. So
it happens halfway through.
No, it happens a little bit through. But, like, I just said 30 minutes in. Just estimating time. But this is an excellent episode. And if you've seen... Did you see the preview at all, Ren?
No, I don't watch that shit.
Okay.
I know this is probably the episode where you have the moment from the trailers where Allison picks up a knife and goes to Rhaenyra and she grabs the hand and they like look at each other. Blah, blah. But, yeah.
I have
seen stills because I have gotten stills to put up in my review.
But I'll also say Patty Viserys.
Patty
finally gets to do whatever he wants, man. He finally gets to say some shit. So I really liked his performance in this episode and everyone involved. This was a great episode, specifically coming off the ending of last week. So awesome to that. But my number one of the week, and I've found some new love for this. It's Avatar. I saw it twice. I went and saw the re-release twice. Went and saw it with my fiance and her mother. 3D IMAX, never seen it in 3D IMAX before. Blown away. I was totally and absolutely in love with it. So then I was like, I need to take my family. Took my mom, my dad, and my sister Tuesday night to see it in IMAX 3D. Got a different cool Avatar Way of the Water scene. That was pretty cool. I got to see two different scenes from that movie. And then I came home and I watched it again because I was just like totally enwrapped in this world. And I know there's like the argument that it's not as great at home, but for me, it works. I fucking love this movie. I really came to a point where like there's just something about what James Cameron does as a director that each of his movies just really fucking slaps for me. Each of them, specifically this one. Like I love the world, I love the characters. I know it's reminiscent of other things, but I cannot wait for Way of the Water. This is now my most anticipated film for the year. I'm like totally all in Avatar. This is how good this movie is for me. I went and ordered every Lego set afterwards. And then I found out that there was a hot toy of Jake Sully. So then I started scouring the internet for someone to sell me him. And someone sold me him for retail, which made my heart really happy because that guy was very nice.
Why not just wait for the new one?
Because then I'm going to have to wait 3 years for that hot toy to come out.
Fair enough.
And I don't know. Part of me like wants the original one, because there's only one, and like the way I view it, I'm like, okay, well, if this is the original one, it might be worth something more down the road because now it's not really worth much. But if Avatar 2 really hits that cultural footprint, it might start growing from there. But plus,
true.
I just want Jake Sully with a machine gun in my background, like I just want him holding the machine gun. So, but yeah, that's my number one for the week, man.
All right, let's go into your weekly rankings that you left us in the chat now. And we start with a good friend of the show, Eric Thorpe. Weekly rankings. Number 1, House of Dragon episode 6. We told you it was good. Number 2, Avatar. Number 3, Better Call Saul, season 3. Number 4, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power episode 6. Number 5, The Sopranos season 2, episodes 3 and 4. Number 6, When They See Us. Still haven't seen that show. And number 7, Don't Worry, Darling. Then there's a second part. Number 8, X-Men 92 season 4. Number 9, She-Hulk episode 7. Number 10, The Three Musketeers, the one from my nemesis, Paul W.S. Anderson. And number 11, The Witches. Oh, poor you. Why did you put yourself through The Witches?
How did you even get to watch that? It's not even on HBO Max anymore.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Streaming service
took it
off.
off.
Their own product out. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to have that in my streaming service either, but Nathan Holton, weekly ranking. Number 1, Smile. Number 2, Bodies, Rewatch. Number 3, Hocus Pocus 2. And number 4, She-Hulk episode 7. And number Bros. Oh, I'm very excited for Bros. I'll see it next week. Not this upcoming week, the other one. In a packed day. I'll be watching Call Jane, Bros, and My Policeman on the same day at LFF. But quite excited for that. Movie fan, weekly ranking, part 1. Number 1, Do Revenge. Number 2, I Used to Be Famous. I never heard about this movie until it showed up on the main page. Netflix absolutely did no promotion for this film. Number 3, Ticket to Paradise. Number 4, Not Okay. This was a surprise. This was quite a surprise earlier this year. Number 5, 3,000 Years of Longing. And do we have a second part? We do. Part 2, number 1. Number 1? Okay, so you did 2 different rankings. Number 1, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Number 2, Lou. Number 3, Do Revenge Rewatch. Number 4, Fall. Still haven't seen. Number 5, Marvel's Blade Drama. All right, after that, we have Gico EP, also a good friend of the show. Number 6, The Incredible Hulk. It does not suck, sir. Stop with the slander. Number 5, Andor episode 4. I'm sorry, this show is just fine so far to me. Fair enough. Number 4, She-Hulk episode 7. Number 3, House of Dragon episode 1 through 6. I'm liking it so far, not loving it. Okay, I'm surprised. Number 2, Real Steel. Rewatched in light of the Deadpool 3 news. Still Sean Levy's best movie. Off the top of my head, I will agree because it's really fucking good. Number 1, Love and Basketball. Great love story surrounded gender roles in basketball from director of The Woman King. I know of it, but I've never seen it. Let's see if we have any more weekly rankings. I do not see it so far. And I think that's it, Zach. We have Luis Feliciano's weekly ranking. Number 4, The Batman 1966. Number 2, The Batman 2. Number 3, The Batman 2. Number 2, She-Hulk episode 7. And number 1, Thor: Love and Thunder rewatch. Hell yeah, my steelbook should be coming in this week. I got the collector's edition.
I didn't even know it
That
came
movie
out.
is fucking
I didn't
awesome.
even know it came out.
I mean, over here it did. I'm finding that usually we get Blu-rays before you guys do for some reason.
Well, they're out.
so
It's
double check.
dude. I went to the
Oh,
store and I see all the Thor Blu-rays. I'm like, when the fuck did this
ah,
movie come out? I was like
okay.
absolutely genuinely shocked. I didn't have my wallet, or else I would have bought it. I did watch it on Disney Plus though. Oh, I guess I should have ranked that. But yeah, I watched
And
it
we
again.
we have the final weekly ranking. We have channel member MSB, who's coming here to cover the Venice, not over here to Venice, over here to cover the London Film Festival. So we're going to be hanging out and watching a lot of movies together. Number 1, Rings of Power. Number 2, She-Hulk, and number 3, House of the Dragon. New movies this week so far, and still waiting to watch Andor. That's a good shout. Maybe Andor will actually work better on rewatch. And supposedly I missed one weekly ranking, but I just searching for weekly ranking from Tony Movie Chappie. I'm not seeing weekly ranking. Can you see it, Zach?
Tell them to copy and paste it if we did. They can.
Yeah, copy and paste it like for the latest thing, because I'm not seeing it. The best way for me to find it is just see weekly ranking at the top of your comment, and I'm not seeing it. Okay, he said weekend watch. Please type in weekly ranking so then it's easier to find it. Number 4, Bullet Train. This was a blast. Number 3, Smile. Number 2, Blade Trilogy. Number 1, The Tree of Life, which is in my top 20 movies of all time. It's a masterpiece. I love that you love that movie, and I wish I could love it as much as you do, brother. It's definitely not one for me, though. But I'm glad it works for someone. All right, everyone. And with that out of the way, we are now moving on to our main topic. And this week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, Zach. I think it was Monday. Yeah. That we got our first look. We knew it was coming. It was Last of Us Day, so they were about to drop something, and they dropped our first trailer for the HBO adaptation of the greatest narrative video game ever made, and that is The Last of Us. And this trailer was everything I could wish for. It was more than everything I could wish for. I love the little to no dialogue, just a little bit of narration over it, leaving you with memorable lines. It's just bringing you into this world, not letting you know necessarily what the story is if you're not familiar with the game. I bet for people who don't know what the game is, they're like, wait, what is this about? But it still looks promising. I showed it to my parents, and they're like, okay, I want to watch this, but they never play the game, naturally. But this trailer, man, it gave me everything. Pedro Pascal is going to be the perfect Joel. Bella Ramsey is going to be the perfect Ellie. Love seeing the clicker. The sound is horrifying. The atmosphere is great. I had to watch the trailer like 5 times before realizing that Gabriel Luna was in one of the shots as Tommy.
Yeah.
Like behind the open hood.
And there's a lot of Tessa in that trailer too. There's a lot of
Tessa. But Anna, is it what's her name? Anna Torv?
Yeah, it's Anna.
Yeah, Anna Torv doesn't look like her. She doesn't look like herself. From Fringe and from Mindhunter. I never watched Fringe, but I did watch Mindhunter. This trailer, man, it gave me the goosebumps. I couldn't stop watching it, and just give me a date now. Give me a date. I don't care for a second trailer, but just give me a date because I need to watch the show, and I will for sure cover it. I will pursue every contact I can and need to get the screeners for this. I will be a pest, a polite pest, but a pest nonetheless, which is like my mantra when it comes to getting screeners for stuff. Zach, you're the fellow mega fan of this franchise. You and I can debate about this all day, how Last of Us Part 2 is absolutely perfect and it's the greatest story ever told in a video game. But for now, we're just getting the story of the first one. Your thoughts on everything this trailer gave us?
I think it's a perfect trailer. I genuinely think this. And I say that as like, this is my favorite story probably told in almost any medium. It's my favorite video game of all time, both 1 and 2. But the thing that I love about this, and I'm going to be the most annoying person because I literally will kill to meet, like not to meet, but to like interview Pedro and Bella. I will do it for fucking free. I will do it for free. I don't give a fuck. Variety comes to me and says do it, I'll do it for free. I'll fly myself wherever I need to go. I don't give a shit. I'm so excited for this series. And I think the trailer is perfect. And I think it's perfect because fans watch this trailer and go, that's that scene. That's that scene. That's that scene. Oh, that's a new scene. That's that scene. That's that scene. I knew exactly every single scene, and it instantly went into the back of my head. We see that we're getting the Ellie's backstory, which is awesome. I'm happy they're going to mix that in there because that's really smart.
Strong read.
But also, they're adding new character played by Melina. I don't know the actress's full name, but she's from Yellow Jackets. Got a lot of acclaim from there. She's in
Melanie
the trailer.
Linsky. Melanie Linsky.
Yeah, she's in the trailer
knew
first.
She was in it, apparently.
I did. I've actually known for like 7 months that she's one of the people told me, and I was like, oh, okay. And then she's in the trailer. I'm like, I guess they were right. So now I'm starting to believe.
But it wasn't public information. That's the thing.
No, it was not public information.
She posted on Twitter like, surprise.
Yeah. Like he has told me a lot about the series, and I was like, oh, maybe. Now I'm starting to believe it after seeing the trailers. A lot of that stuff, which I'm very excited to see. But the thing that really made me so surprised was because they also announced what kind of character she's playing. And I have a feeling she's going to actually play a villain that's pursuing them the entire time. And the reason I say that is because that was an original idea when they had the first game, but they ended up cutting it because they didn't have the time to put that in there. So, and to flesh them out. So I'm interested to see where that is. As well as Tess was originally supposed to be a villain. Tess was not supposed to die. Tess was a friend turned villain because Joel fucked her over for a payment. They changed all that. So I'm interested to see if they do shift that and bring it back and maybe make her a part of that. I don't know. This is just speculation.
I hope not, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Tess is because she dies very early in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to establish her, like they did in the game, to establish her as an important character and then kill her. Because then it tells you nobody's safe.
That's why I think they're going to do in this show. I think they're going to give us background to her, build her up, make the fans think, oh,
she'll probably die later in the story when it comes like to episodes later in the season, like maybe episode 6, maybe 7.
Maybe she gets to Bill. Maybe they actually get her to Bill.
But I think it's important that she dies.
Yeah.
And she dies like very unceremoniously. She's left behind because she's bitten, right? She's not shot. She's bitten in the game. Yeah.
She's bitten, and then she goes out in a blaze.
And then the guys eventually shoot her, but they shoot her off screen. Like, she doesn't get this glorious death. She doesn't get to be a hero. She just fucking dies.
They're going to give her the glorious death. They're going to give her the glorious death, I think.
Like, I don't mind seeing her die on screen, but I think it's important that she just dies at the hands of those dudes, of those random dudes who are nobody. Like, they're not the big villain of the series, and maybe it will be Melanie Linsky after them and blah, blah, but still, it's important that she dies.
I think Melanie's going to play, like, the leader of that compound that they're in, that militia. I think that's what she's going to be a part of. Okay. Which is going to add into like the rest of the world. But I really dig what they're doing. I like that. Again, it looks like Tess is getting more shit because a lot of the scenes in the trailer that were different and newer were all Tess stuff and Melanie as well. And then the other thing I really liked was obviously Tommy's not that much in the trailer. Tommy's not that much in the first game. So he won't be
not up until halfway through.
No, so I'm curious to see that. We didn't see the kid though, right?
We saw her. We saw
Sam
her from the back because kid? Sam and his brother. No, we didn't see them.
Okay, yeah, so we didn't see them.
We saw Sarah.
We did.
I thought that's who you were asking.
Yeah, and then the one scene though I was kind of surprised they put in there was when he runs up and grabs her face. That's the scene. That's like 100% the scene. Like
scene. Scene.
That's gonna be great. I don't want to dive into what that scene is.
Yeah, no, don't.
I cannot express it.
I will add to what you said though that like you recognize all the shots. This is that scene. This is this scene. Blah 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 blah. But just in this trailer, you can tell, okay, they're doing this scene, but it's not a shot-for-shot recreation.
Exactly.
Like even the scene that we were just talking about when he grabs her face, they're outside. They're outside in the snow. They're not inside. While no context, these are not spoilers if I don't give you context, but they're not inside with a place burning down. They're outside in the snow, and all that. And so, The one thing I think it looks at least like the environment looks the same, like the colors look the same, is when Joel goes and they're watching the clicker walking past by the other side of the glass.
It's
like
dude,
it's not the exact,
so
it's not even the
creative.
exact same shots, but
Yeah,
the,
and shout out the
thing
person
is there.
doing the prosthetics on the clicker is the same one who did the White Walker and Vecna.
Yep.
So awesome picks.
And he did something else.
Dude,
recently.
the scene, the building, the towers falling over on each other.
Yes, so good.
Like right out of the game. I just got done replaying
that
the
was
game.
That was a part. That was a part I was fucked passing on the first time, because you have that floor where you have to kill several walkers, and then some of them are clickers, but then some of them aren't, and you have to be very careful about the noise you make and all that. So that's a fucked up part in the game. So I can always
this is what I think going to be great about the show. So with the game, it's a little bit different. You have to give gameplay, you have to move them through, you have to give that satisfying stuff. With a show, you don't have
the show
to
you don't get to restart the level.
No,
or the part of the game.
Like, but that's where you can show them sneaking through, you can show them riding the horse, you can show them taking out stuff and provide the action, but you can actually sprinkle in there as more story. You have more time for story because you don't have to do these long-winded stealth missions throughout each level, which I have no issues with that in the game. In a show, though, that gets fucking boring. Can't do that every episode. Oh, we got to sneak past this. You know what creature I'm really excited to see how they create is the bloater, but also those little skinny ones that hide and then peek away. Yeah. Fuck those ones, because I forgot about that my last playthrough, and I was running through and I saw one peek. I'm like, oh fuck that, and I'm like, I'm just running through here with the shotgun.
And when they get to the second one, when they do the Rat King. The Rat King is going to be something to see.
that
one's going to be full CGI. It's got to be. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying
it'll probably be prosthetics and it'll probably be practical. CGI, but let me. The last thing I want to end with is I will say one thing that I have heard about the show is that Warner Brothers and HBO are so fucking impressed with this that apparently they think this is like the best thing they've had since Game of Thrones. Like literally. Like they are more impressed with this than House of the Dragons. Like from everything this person has told me is that they are completely and utterly in love with this series. And Pedro Pascal's coming for his first Emmy nomination, and so is Bella Ramsey. Like 1000%. I would be shocked. I think this is gonna change everything. And like I said, like I showed my parents it and they were instantly interested, but have no idea. When I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know every single thing in that, most of the things. So this is a perfect trade.
Maybe they'll change it up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I hope they do. I hope they do for some parts, but you know what part's going to flip people out? And I'm not going to give context to it. When they're in the college campus and the way that ends.
Mm-hmm. You think that's going to be the season end, the season cliffhanger?
No. I don't think so. I think the whole season's. I think the whole first game's in the season. I think this trailer kind of showed that. Yeah, I would be kind of shocked if it's not, specifically because we got
a big chunk of it is because
I think
the scene is there, and the scene is like later in the game. So maybe,
I think it is.
Or maybe
like
we finish after that, and we expand on the last chunk of the game.
Maybe. I think they're only going to do the first one. I think 10 episodes, 10 hours thing. I don't think there's much more, because once you get past the when he's grabbing her face, there's not much left of the game. There really isn't. It's just a long and late game
part. And even once you get past the initial part of the game, which when you're still in the city before the first season change, like after that, it's quite fast. You can do like every bit of the game in like 2 episode chunks and get to the end.
Yep. Because and I know they're expanding Bill. They announced that someone is playing Frank, his lover.
It's gonna be Murray Bartlett.
Yeah. So I'm again excited to see what they change, what they do. But that ending, fuck dude, it's still gonna hit just as hard as it hits in the game. Like if they do they're gonna do the exact same ending. But you know what other scene? One other scene I'm excited to see: Giraffe. That's gonna be like, it's just the calm before the storm, dude. If the finale is literally Joel, like doing his shit, I'm gonna be sitting there fucking.
I think that's gonna be the entire finale. That's gonna be the entire thing.
100%.
And
100%.
oh my god, I can't wait to see the giraffes. When they
Same.
get to the moment with the giraffes.
Okay. Over under 75%. We get a tease to Abby.
No, don't do it.
Not at all. Not one bit.
Not at all. The thing about it is that it comes out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere for Joel. It comes out of nowhere for us.
Okay.
That's why it works.
Okay. And now, last thing I want to say.
And I'm not saying, like, there's a way you can do it and it still works. It's still fine, yeah. But don't do it. Yeah, don't do it.
They're going to do 2. And I am, like... 2 is, like...
Any new ideas who you cast as Abby?
I've been saying, I think Chloe Grace Moretz. But she'll be a little bit older at that point. So at this,
because it's tough. Like it's got to be someone who is the same age as Bella Ramsey, or maybe 2 years older, something like that.
Bella Ramsey right now?
Bella Ramsey age. She is 19. So let's say 21, 22 by the time the second season comes out, or by the time they start casting. But then let's say they can be, 20.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I just read the best fucking fan casting, and I love it.
Before you say it, though, let's remember, not only do you have to be someone around the same age as Bella Ramsey, you also have to be someone the same height and physical presence as Pedro Pascal. And let me see what that is. Pedro Pascal is my size. He's not super tall, actually. He's actually slightly a quarter smaller than me. So he's 5'10".
So I have 2 picks that are definitely not 5'10", but they could bulk the fuck up and kill this role. First off, Julia Gardner. Julia Gardner, I would fucking love in this role. Another one I read.
When you say bulk the fuck up, she needs to bulk the fuck up. She's an incredible. I'm not saying this as an insult. Yeah. I'm just saying she's not right for Abby because she's a fucking string. And she's still an incredible actress. I love her. I mean this in no demeaning way.
Yeah.
But what's the other one?
Jodie Comer.
Jodie Comer, yeah, I buy that. But she's gonna be busy playing Sue Storm, so she probably can't.
Yeah, probably. So can I say I'm on this Reddit page?
But I actually love that though.
I do too. Someone also said Florence Pugh, which I'm sorry, that's really good casting.
She's really good, but she is very and she looks like she could kick your ass, but she is not the height needed for the role. I think the height for this role is very important.
Yeah, I will say though, some of these people. Someone said just cast Laura Bailey, the main voice actor.
You're not gonna hear me complain about that, but you have to change quite a bit of things around because. I mean, Laura Bailey is Laura Bailey. She's a goddess, but she's not Bella Ramsey's age.
Do you want to hear some stupid comments people make?
No, I don't.
No, well, they're not mean Well, I guess someone said Henry Cavill.
Yeah, not gonna comment on that. All right, everyone, and that is our thoughts. Unless you wanna bring something else up, I have one quick thing I want to mention. But if you don't, no Troy Baker. No Troy Baker. Even though you and I know who he is playing. Public knowledge. So
I'm not shocked by that because we didn't see Ashley Johnson either.
And who is Ashley playing? Let me know.
It's not public. It's not public knowledge. So
yeah, I remember it's not public. You've told me, but I completely forgot. But yes, that is our take on The Last of Us trailer. That's how excited we are. That's it. Cool. And she technically is that already. So yeah. Let us know what you make of The Last of Us trailer, how excited you are for the series in the chat below, or add it to the community tab in case we can get to it, or let us know through Superchat or tip link. And now to your live questions. All right, everyone, starting with Lady Aaron. Looks like Ed Sheeran did a song collaboration with Pokemon and released a new song called Celestial over the week. They will be present in Scarlet and Violet. What is your thoughts on this song, and have you heard it? Or seen the music video? I heard it. It's fine. It's a really cheerful song. Doesn't get my blood boiling anymore for the game or anything, but it's fine. It's a fine song. Zach, did you take a listen or not? Or were you completely unaware?
Unaware.
All right. Tony Movie Chappie. After Bassam Tariq leaving Blade reboot, do you guys think Who do you guys think should direct the Blade reboot? My choice would be the director David Leitch, just because he would add a very unique action style to the movie. Plus, he expressed interest in directing a Marvel Blade reboot. I don't disagree entirely with David Leitch, but I would go with the other John Wick director, Chad Stahelski. Between the two, my main choice would probably be Rick Famuyiwa. I think he'd be a really, really good choice to direct this, particularly if we take a look at his episode of The Mandalorian. Zach, what about you?
This was for Blade, right? I was reading some of the live chat.
Yeah.
Okay. I did a whole post on who I think. I'd love to see Regina King. I've been saying that I'd love for her to take on Blade and be able to direct it. But I do like the Rick choice. I think that's the one that I kind of prefer overall, specifically for an action. I do want, like, I also, Fede Alvarez is like one that I would love to see fucking tackle this. He's not doing anything right now, so I don't know. I just, for me, like, get the movie right. And you really do have to get it right, because there is a diehard fan base for Blade. Like, my work environment, like, a lot of people there love Blade and they are not excited for this property. Love Ali as an actor, but none of them really care, and none of them believe that they'll be able to do it. So with that said, you gotta impress. And I'm telling you right now, the film's getting pushed back no matter what. The movie's not coming out next November. But if we do not hear, like, any movement of this in the next 5 months, do not be shocked if Ali leaves. Do not be shocked.
We gotta hear something about it at the very least.
There's a reason it wasn't at D23 now or Comic-Con. So,
Lady Aaron, I got my very first steelbook and got it in the form of my favorite movie of all time, La La Land, for $19.99. What is your favorite steelbook that you have, and are any movie steelbooks that you are planning to get in the future? I don't personally plan on something, because it has to be available for me to get it. So if I see that a steelbook exists, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get that. My favorite, it is probably La La Land or Blade Runner 2049. Those are like two of my favorites, and I have a few steelbooks here. But yeah, those are a few of my favorites. Zach, what about you?
I own a lot, so I have a whole, like, video from, like, I think a year and a half ago that's actually every steelbook, so you can just go watch that. I'm pretty sure I say which one's my favorite, but recently my favorite one's the new La La Land one.
That has not gotten a release here in Europe.
Yeah, and
so
then
still waiting, by the way.
I have Top Gun pre-ordered right now, but that's about it.
I'm going to be getting the Top Gun steelbook. But I didn't necessarily pre-order it. Let's just keep it at that.
That's
cool. Later, and since we are now in the final 3 months of 2022, which new movies are you anticipating to watch the most? Whether it be good anticipation or bad anticipation? Bad anticipation doesn't exist for me. If I'm not anticipating a movie, I'm not anticipating a movie. Most anticipated. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not getting The Fabelmans or Babylon until next year. So those unfortunately don't count. Through the London Film Festival, what am I most anticipating? I've seen The Sun, I've seen The Banshees of Inisherin. So probably Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio or Glass Onion. And then Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And that's it. Like, the things I'm super, super hyped about, those are it. Off the top of my head. Zach?
So there's a lot of, like, Oscar movies and movies that you've already seen because of festival stuff. So my number one is Babylon. It's still my number one for the year. I can't wait to see what Damien Chazelle gives. Number two is probably Avatar: Way of the Water. My number three goes back and forth. I want to say Black Adam, but also the thing is, there's something about me that, like, I have no idea what this movie's about. So it's hard for me to really get hyped over instead of just what The Rock is saying. Wakanda Forever is probably going to be my number three, but I also want to intersect and say The Whale. Like, it's one of the two. I am so excited to see The Whale. I'm also very excited to see The Sun because I want to love that movie and be in the minority with Ren. So
be on the right side, you mean? Be on the right side.
Yes.
All right. Tony Movie Chappie. Thoughts on Mahershala Ali being very frustrated with the Blade development process, not being happy with the script for it only being 90 pages long and 2 lackluster action scenes. So we're going to have to break down this, because I completely get why Mahershala Ali would be frustrated with the information that we do have. There may be some more reasons that we are not aware of. The script only being 90 pages is not an issue for him, nor should it be an issue for anyone, because a movie like this usually gets around to that. It's maybe 100 pages long, so it's not too much below average.
The action.
The thing, though, only two, lackluster or not, only 2 action sequences in the Blade movie. I don't know, man. That's the worrying part. That's the frustrating part.
Well, they're redoing the entire script now.
Yeah.
So,
but it only being 90 pages long, don't worry. That's a little bit maybe below the average, but it's not too far off the average. So, anything to add, Zach?
I get it. He's a 2-time Academy Award winner. How fucking hard can it be? And honestly, how hard can it be to adapt a Blade story? I know making a movie is not easy. I completely understand that. But Marvel does it every fucking year. Every year they make 3 to 4 movies plus now all the shows. You're gonna tell me it's that hard to go hire someone to make a Blade movie? Like I genuinely I'm just like questions being asked. I do like the writer they have now on board. I'm happy they're just fucking throwing that script away and just writing a fucking new one.
You know, a suggestion that for director, I just remember that I saw. I didn't make it. You didn't bring it up either, but within the context of the MCU, it would actually be a pretty good fit. Sam Raimi.
I would literally fucking scream if that was announced. Or who else? Mohamed Diab and fucking the directors from Miss Marvel and Batgirl.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if they get it. And if they got it, fuck yes. I love how they did the action in Bad Boys for Life. So I would love that. And for me with Blade, like, throw Dracula in there, man. Just like I do wonder if there
not
is
in the first movie. Not in the first. It's fucking Dracula. That's the ultimate opponent for Blade.
For me though, with Blade, when I look at it, it's just are they just confused on how to put supernatural stuff in there? Like, who gives a fuck? Just say vampires live in this world.
They started already. I mean, Blade has already made his debut in the MCU.
Yeah, kinda.
We forget. You forget on that incredible movie that is now finally starting to get appreciated more, named The Eternals.
Go dude!
Watch it if you haven't.
In 10-15 years, it's gonna be everyone's favorites.
It's already started. Like I saw Jico EP send me a tweet and all like, "Oh, I ever rewatched Eternals? That's actually pretty great." And I'm like, "Yes, I was there. I told you all along, people."
I literally will defend the fuck out of that movie, like, for the rest of my existence. Like, yeah.
Lady, this one's gonna be just for you. Let me just tell you. Thoughts on the TV show Community getting a movie? Do you guys think that this is a good idea or not really? I have absolutely no thoughts because I do not care for Community. Zach?
TV show movies typically fucking suck. That's just the truth. They are
Serenity. Not the Serenity Zach likes, but the right Serenity.
I've never seen the other one, so I haven't. I've seen Firefly, but I need to just. I want to rewatch Firefly and then do Serenity. But
that's what I did earlier this year.
So yeah.
No,
so I digress though. Community is like top 5 shows for me. It's my favorite sitcom of all time. So I've been wanting the 6 seasons in a movie because out of those 6 seasons, only 1.5 of them suck. And not even suck, they're just fine and okay. The characters are so delightful and great. And it's been kind of that thing. The way that the show ended felt definitive, but it still felt you could come back a couple years later and do something. And I genuinely think this is a good idea. I will say if they do not get Donald Glover back, though, or Yvette...
apparently they got him. Apparently they are coming back.
I'll hope so. Because he wasn't in the last 2 seasons, and the last season really didn't have a lot of the cast. It was like only 4 of them, but they always gave them like a closure to them all. So I really like this idea. I'm happy Peacock's doing it. I'm not shocked that they're not doing it. But it's like it's gonna be a TV movie. Like, it's a TV show getting a movie. Like, when you look at these, like Entourage, for instance, that movie is literally just the show. Like, it's just an 1.5-hour episode of the show. And I enjoy that movie because it's an 1.5-hour version of the show. Would I have paid to see that in theaters? Fuck no. Fuck no. Community.
You know what I would have paid to see in theaters? Serenity. Just reiterating how good that is.
Was it not in theaters? I thought it was.
It was, but I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I never seen the show by that point
And
because that came
yeah,
out in like 2005 or 2006.
mhm.
I was 12. I had not seen
Yeah. In
Firefly.
fact, the best movie going, like best TV going to a movie, is El Camino, the Breaking Bad film, and that still
Ah,
just felt like an extended epilogue episode.
mhm.
Even though it had a very way higher production than like a lot of that stuff in Breaking Bad, which is saying a lot. So, Community, I'm very excited. Show me what the purpose is. It's going to be very meta, but also give it a definitive ending. Like this should be it. No more going back. Give it that an emotional gut punch ending that you really wanted to, like it did. They already gave us. I'm curious to see if Jonathan Banks comes back or a couple others, but that's kind of just my thoughts. But I'm very
All
excited.
right. Lady Erin, what is your favorite Halloween movie, Halloween-based shows or cartoons that you guys love to watch every year? I don't have one. I always just watched. I always make a point to kind of watch something on the horror genre that I haven't seen before. And this year, that's going to be Poltergeist. It's celebrating its 40th anniversary, and my local theater is playing it. So my first experience watching Poltergeist is going to be on the big screen, 4K, baby. Zach, what about you? Do you have something that you return to every year?
Toy Story.
Toy Story of Terror is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tony Movie Chappie, what are some movie scores that you guys think is underrated? The Eternal score by Ramin Djawadi is really, really great. Other than that, I don't, off the top of my head, I have no idea. I mean, the Shang-Chi score didn't get the love it deserved, but I don't want to just talk about MCU scores. Zach, do you have anything that comes up to mind while I go to my Spotify to cheat on this answer? Clearly
I'd have
not.
to think that. No, I'd have to think. What are some movie scores that you guys think is under? I don't know. That's tough because if I might not think it's underrated, I might just like it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. That's fair enough. Oh, you know what? The Neon Demon score by Cliff
yeah, it's a good
Martinez
one.
is really good.
But the movie's
We
just
never got
underrated, so
the movie itself is underrated. We never got the Cliff Martinez score for Ghost in the Shell, and that is an amazing score, and that is a very underrated movie as well. But off the top of my head, I would really have to research this because I can go to MCU scores like that if I think they're underrated, but I don't want to just give you MCU scores. So yeah, that's my answer. I'm going to stick with the Eternals one. Lady Aaron, what are some TV shows that got a movie in which you think the movie is an absolute disgrace towards the TV show? Zach?
I don't know. I don't have one because if I don't like the here's the thing about the TV movies. If I don't like the show, I'm not gonna watch the movie. If
That's
I like the
that's fair
show,
enough.
I'm gonna watch the movie, and then most likely I'm gonna like that movie because
Hmm.
that movie was made for fans. Like that
That's
that's
true.
just the truth. Like Sex in the City. I've never watched the show. I've heard the movies are awful. But guess what? Every person I talked to who likes the show and watched the movies liked it. So and
Hmm.
same thing with Entourage. I know people who have seen that movie and fucking hate it, but they've never watched the show. I watched that entire show and I dug it. So it's a tough thing. You can't really dive into that too much. I don't
Hmm.
really because film's so subjective. There's not a disgrace. Now we can talk about shows that just became a disgrace towards itself, but that would be a completely different question.
Yeah, true. Lady Aaron, we lost a very talented rapper whose music, especially from the 90s, was influential for rap, and that was Coolio. Have you heard of him? Have you heard of his music? And if you have, what's your favorite song from Coolio? Literally, the only thing I ever knew about him was it's the guy who sings "Gangsters in Paradise," and the first time I heard that song was Weird Al Yankovic's parody "Hamish Paradise." So I have nothing to say because I never knew anything about him beyond that. But rest in peace. 59 is actually pretty young to go, so rest in peace, Coolio. Zach, were you familiar with anything else,
Uh,
or
I mean, I grew up listening to his stuff, but I can't tell you off the top of my head like my
all
favorite
right?
songs.
The new movie Chappie. Are you guys excited or interested
No.
in seeing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? We talked about this before. Morbid curiosity will have me watch it, but am I excited? No, because it looks like absolute fucking garbage. Looks more expensive than the Monsters, but still garbage. Zach?
I don't give one shit about this movie.
Alright.
I will probably watch it. Here's the thing: if I can get an early screener, I will review it. If I can't, I'm not gonna pay money. I'm not
Same.
paying money to watch this fucking thing.
Same. Eric Thorpe, I'm pretty sure I'm the first one in the comments to ask about this. But how pumped are you guys for the huge news about Deadpool 3? Do you think, unlike what they did with Patrick Stewart's Professor X in Multiverse of Madness, Hugh Jackman will be playing the same Wolverine that he was in the Fox universe? So more in line with the approach they went to with Tobey and Andrew No Way Home. I hope so. The multiverse concept is kind of wasted. It didn't actually connect to Fox Universe at some point, in my opinion. It's the most expensive Marvel movie franchise outside the MCU, after all. Zach, you go first.
Okay. Well, just as you said, Eric, I was surprised that this was not the thumbnail either. But then I was very excited when Ren told me that we were talking about The Last of Us.
Yeah, I said it in the thumbnail. It was like, oh, are we doing Deadpool 3? And I'm like, I'm sure we'll be asked either way.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I took a nap, and then I woke up.
At work. You took a nap
yeah.
at work.
Yeah. And so I woke up. I walked back to my desk.
That's an inside joke, by the way. Zach didn't sleep on the job. That's what I thought initially, but you didn't.
I mean, and then one of my friends texted me and said, dude, this is so heartbreaking. And I said, what? So I clicked the video, and he made it seem like he's like, dude, they're not doing Deadpool 3. He was totally fucking with me. So I'm watching this video thinking he's announcing that, we're not going to make it. Like, we can't figure out. And I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm watching it. And then I see, like, in the corner of my eye, right as he goes, hey, Hugh. And I start crying. I literally started fucking crying at my fucking desk. And first off, I paused it. I texted him. I said, fuck you. You should have told me to react to it. Why you didn't tell me to react to that is beyond me. Because I had no idea. I didn't see anything on Twitter yet. Mm-hmm. So I was literally completely, like, that would have been the most genuine reaction, was for me to get that. But I see him say, hey, Hugh, do you want to play Wolverine one more time? He goes, yeah, sure, Ryan. Dude, I turned around and I grabbed my friend at work. And because he's huge in the Marvel Universe, I'm like, dude, Wolverine's coming back. Hugh Jackman's coming back. He goes, you're fucking with me. I said, no, go to Ryan Reynolds' Twitter right now, like all this stuff. So then everything started to come out because I thought it was a fucking joke. Then the slash mark and all this shit. And I can't believe it's real. I genuinely cannot believe it's real. But I will say is that back in 2019, I heard this. I heard that this was the concept, was to bring Hugh Jackman back for one more and to do a Wolverine film. And I always wondered why they just didn't go back to that. I'm going to guess that they're still going to do the road trip thing with him, but I also think it's just going to be a road trip to the MCU. The Fox universe is crashing down upon them. Yeah. That would even be better.
It's like Umbrella Academy Season 3. The world is collapsing around them, and they have to escape.
Yep, and he's getting everyone, so he gets Dopinder, he gets Vanessa, he gets Negasonic,
and by the end, only he escapes. Even Hugh Jackman is like, no, wait, you gotta go without me.
I think everyone but him goes. I'll be honest. I think everyone but
as long as he doesn't go, because I don't have a problem with him coming back, because the whole doesn't undo the end of Logan and all that. But if he comes into the MCU, like, he can't.
Yeah, and if anything, this is going to take place before Logan. Like, what if this is the thing that sets off the apocalypse that now Logan is in? I'm not saying I would love that,
I wouldn't do that because it's totally off from Deadpool. Like, I'm not saying you can't have drama or emotion in Deadpool, but it's still got to be Deadpool. So the thing you take away, like, when you come out of that, you can talk about, oh my God, I can't believe it was Deadpool all along that sets up that tragically emotional, dramatic world of, like, it can't be that.
Can I give a wild card for this? I don't think this is going to happen.
Sure.
I think the end credit scene of this movie, or just in general, the very ending, will be our introduction to who's playing the X-Men in the MCU.
I doubt it. I have another idea that would be simpler. It wouldn't have big ramifications necessarily, but because he's coming into the MCU from another universe that is not the MCU, the first thing he meets up with is the TVA and Loki.
Dude, I would fucking scream if that happens. I would.
That's my
I would lose my shit. And you know what? This is coming out. It starts out. This technically is kicking off Phase 6 now, or ending
coming
Phase
June.
5, whichever way you want to
Coming
look.
June,
So
as you see on the trailer.
yeah, is there a chance? I want to ask you: is there a chance we see Deadpool and anything else before this at all?
I don't know. I guess I'll give it a 5%, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
Like, we know this is coming. Just let him debut in
So
this
now
movie.
let me ask you: he's in Secret Wars, right? Like this, he'll be in the Secret Wars film.
I'll be shocked at this point. Like, I reserve the right to change my mind as things unfold. Obviously, we'll learn new information. But at this point, if he's coming into the MCU, I'll be shocked if he isn't. Like, you want
King Dynasty
you
2
want to play
or
with...
just Secret Wars?
It depends on what Kang Dynasty is. Because Kang Dynasty in the comics, it's like this. It's long. It's a long story, but it's this one event. Like the Avengers are there to try and stop Kang. The Avengers lose, and the same Avengers eventually come back and win. And how that will eventually become Secret Wars, I don't know, because those two stories aren't necessarily connected in the comics. So right now, it's too early to say.
Okay, and is this do you think this is it? We will never see Hugh Jackman again, or does he show up in Secret Wars as well?
I think there's a chance he could show up in Secret Wars, and after Secret Wars, that is it. But even Secret Wars, I don't necessarily think he will, or even should play a big role. Like, he'll be that thing of, oh, you're that guy, blah, blah, and you'll give some information to the heroes.
Can you imagine if we get Toby and him side by side?
I mean, it's Kevin Feige, man.
I know. He's gonna do it, dude. He's literally going to fucking do it because
he's gonna do it, and he's gonna earn it. Yeah. He's not just gonna do it. Hi, we're Spider-Man and Wolverine for everyone to go, oh, look at that. No, he's gonna earn it.
Ren, how does it feel that you and me are like the last two people who actually still love the MCU? It feels like sometimes.
It feels amazing because I just watched a video earlier today, and people give flack to the MCU, but the people who make the MCU bank are not me or you or people who read the comics. It's the general audience. They are not necessarily into comics or superhero stuff because they craft amazing characters and arcs. They are relatable. They don't make perfect heroes. They make broken people who have growth in their journeys. And that's what we are. We are people who get broken and who face trauma and challenges, be it relations, be it mental issues, physical issues, and we have to keep fighting the good fight. And the MCU gives that to us. So yeah, don't want to get all philosophical, but I could. As far as my thoughts on this, man, I'm really happy. I cannot wait to see this because to me, as of right now, and I posted this on Twitter, I think it's too early to get worried about it undoing the ending of Logan. But I think it's also too early to say this definitely does not undo the end of Logan. As of right now, nothing has undone the end of Logan. The ending of Logan takes place in a far alternate future, is not set within the MCU, and the ending is still there. Depending on what this film does, that ending still happens. This does not damage it whatsoever.
Well, so that's the other thing. Oh, keep going. I didn't mean to.
I'm very excited because I love Hugh Jackman. I love Wolverine, and it opens up certain exciting possibilities.
Yeah.
And the fact that he comes back for this and maybe Secret Wars, I don't want this like be a comeback and he's now Wolverine again. That takes away the ending of Logan, and that takes away what makes this return special. It's the one last hurrah. It's finally seeing these two together in a way they were never able to be together as Deadpool and Wolverine. So yeah.
R-rated Deadpool and Wolverine.
R-rated Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, true.
So the last two things I want to just throw in there real fast. One, we're for sure getting the yellow suit. I think Wolverine's getting the yellow suit.
I'll be shocked if we don't. Either that or the brown suit, man.
Yeah, or the brown one. And then last, I do want to add, I don't think this is a disgrace because I do believe that what is Sean Levy really good at? Yeah, well, what's Sean Levy really good at? Did anyone watch like Heart? Like, dude, he knows how to interject heart in goodbyes. The Atom Project fucked me up.
Real Steel.
Yeah.
Rocket Talking Robots, what a stupid movie. And you almost cry watching it.
Yeah. So, like,
it's Wolverine and the young Thor, the kid who played the young Thor in the first Thor movie. He plays Hugh Jackman's kid. And Wasp. They're all in that movie.
And that's my thing is like, I think people need to kind of chill out because if you don't like it, that's fine. I think they know we have to write off a awesome send-off for Hugh Jackman, no matter what. I mean, that's one of the big parts
And it's
about the
Kevin
writing.
Feige, so we can trust him on that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I missed something. No. We got to go fast to finish up in time, by the way. So let's do this. Nathan Holton, do you believe Hocus Pocus 2 should have gone to theaters? Absolutely not. It has a big cult following, and it was dumped down to stream, and it was dumped on streaming, and because of that, so many people didn't even realize it's out or even been made. You answer your own question. It's got a cult following. Cult following does not make money. Usually, movies that become cult classics are the ones that flop at the box office. So the original wasn't in theaters. It was a Disney Channel original.
No, it was in theaters.
Oh, it was.
It lost money.
Okay,
it lost $20 million.
See? Over here, it was a Disney Channel original. Yeah. So I absolutely do not think it should have gone to theaters. So they made a very wise play. Zach, do you agree?
I'll be honest. I originally, before I knew it had lost money, I was like, why is this not going into theaters? No matter how the production or anything is, it does have a huge following. In fact, a lot of people I know who aren't in the movie sphere asked me if I was going to get an early screener to see it in theaters. I said, no, it's going to Disney Plus. And they're like, what? Right. I'm like, yeah, it's not. So a lot of people did not know this was. So, I mean, now they know, but, should it have? No, I don't think so. I think it still probably would have lost money. I think they could have done like a one night special only thing. You can watch Hocus Pocus 2 in theaters, and that probably would have gotten some money.
I mean, I'm sure that can still happen in special theaters. All right, Nathan Holton, thoughts on the Blade script issues? I mean, we've talked about that. As far as the 19 pages are concerned, nothing to be too worried about. 2 action sequences, that's something like you need to fix that. And they are. Nathan Holton, when do you think Fantastic Four cast will be announced? At this point, if they are ready to announce it, like if they've cast all 4, plus even Doctor Doom, maybe, my best guess is after Black Panther Wakanda Forever comes out. So maybe the Monday, maybe the Sunday when it comes out, something like that. Zach?
Next year's Comic-Con.
Wow, you think they're going to wait that long?
It depends when they start filming.
Okay.
But if they're planning to start filming before then obviously no. But
no, I think you're wrong because they're doing my pitch, Ant-Man 3, baby.
let me continue with that. I think it comes out right around Ant-Man. For a very particular.
But if it comes out right around Ant-Man, you're going to be telling the people, oh, they are in Ant-Man, and I'm going to be saying, I'm suing Marvel Studios.
But that's the thing. No matter what, if they release it right around Ant-Man, then we're going to know. But then if we don't, what's going to happen is Variety's going to go to the premiere and say, oh my God, they have. So it's.
They have Fantastic Four. Yeah. Nathan Holden, thoughts on Hugh Jackman return? Well, we talked about that. Nathan Holden, thoughts on Nosferatu cast? Love Bill Skarsgård. I've liked Lily Rose Depp in recent stuff I've seen her in. Silent Night is actually a really good movie.
Yep.
Does it feel like a downgrade from what we could have gotten with Anya Taylor-Joy as the vampire and Robert Pattinson? Maybe, but it's Robert Eggers and the man can do anything. So I'm excited. Zach?
If it wasn't for Robert Eggers, for some reason, if it was someone else was now directing this, I would be a little disappointed. The fact that he's still directing it, I fully believe and trust to this casting. Yeah, I mean, this is literally what he's wanted to make since The Witch. So, and this has actually been one of my most anticipated things that anyone's talked about being made. So, I have nothing to be worried about. Do I want Anya? Sure, but it's not like a big. It's not like I saw like they filmed movie and I'm like, oh my God, now they cut her out because she dropped out.
It's not like The Crow.
Yeah, which actually got filmed. Somehow.
Yeah, I still don't believe it. You got to show me a trailer. Nathan Holden, crazy to think we've heard nothing on Expendables 4 and Operation Fortune. Does that show they won't be coming out this year? Operation Fortune basically shot out its first marketing push before it was delayed. So I still think there's a good chance it does get released this year. Expendables 4, I don't think there's any chance we see it releasing this year unless it goes to streaming. And I don't think Stallone will want that, knowing the power that he has behind that production. Zach, anything to add?
Operation Fortune. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that movie. That movie got
I'll,
pulled
I'll,
the week
it's
of.
very simple. It's very simple. The
Oh.
villains in that movie are Ukrainian. That's all. That's the answer. So now you understand why I got the lyrics. Maybe, yeah.
It's not coming out this year. It'll come out next year probably. As for Expendables 4, it's the year. If it was gonna come out, it should have came out in August or September. That would have been a nice little chunk of change for it to get. Now we're hitting into the heavy hitters where every week is something again. So I'm gonna say no, it does not come out this year. I think Expendables should come out around March. I think that's a really good release date for it. March, or again, wait till next August or September. But streaming wise, I don't know. I mean, Samaritan went on streaming. That was a big Sylvester Stallone passion project.
But that wasn't. He didn't have that big a pull there.
Who's Expendables studio? What's the studio with the Expendables?
Lionsgate. Yeah,
it'll come out in theaters. They need a theaters release.
I know exactly. GGP, you guys talk about how the worst kind of movie is a mediocre one, something that even after viewing it, you either forgot everything about it or left you with nothing to talk about. It's true. What kind of movie this year made you feel that way? For me, it was The Gray Man. No, dude, damn it. But yeah. This year, Jurassic World Dominion. I hate to be coming back to this answer all the time, so I'm going to search for something else as I pass it on to Zach. Zach, what did you think about?
I'm looking now, but The Gray Man was awesome. So,
I really like The Gray Man. It has gone down a bit, but I still quite like it.
I mean, Jurassic is like the one.
Oh, you know what? Samaritan was so.
Yeah,
it was, the potential was there, man. The potential was there.
Uncharted, unfucking charted.
You know what?
Should have been the easiest video game adaptation you could do, and you still couldn't do it. So yeah.
Another one, Where the Crawdads Sing. So much potential there as well. I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
fine.
And everyone in like my family's pretty big on the books. So
another one, and take this one, like, still go watch this one because apparently everyone else loves it. I thought it was all right because it has a really nice premise, but Broker, the Korean movie Broker, I watched it and it's fine. It starts out really well, but it's what, and I have another one that Zach loves. Everyone loves it, but Broker and the movie I'm about to name drop, they have this issue where they present an interesting premise, they make their fucking point, and then they keep going for some reason, and that is Broker and After Yang.
Loved After Yang.
So yeah, that's my take on After Yang. Do you have any others? You named one, right?
Yeah, I named one.
Okay. Chico P, in fandom, especially in comic book fandoms, we always want everything to be accurate to the comics. I don't. But what happens when something isn't being accurate yet still gets praised, and vice versa when something being comic accurate isn't as beloved? Take She-Hulk, for example, as fans of the comics said that this show is capturing the spirit of the tone of the books, but obviously the show has been divisive. But I know one person said that the Daredevil series isn't always that faithful to the comics. It's true. Yet people love it. In fact, most comic accurate season, from what I heard, is actually season 2. Yep, and that's the one that fans of the show say is the weakest season. I guess it depends on execution. Totally depends on execution. You don't have to be comic accurate to be good. Age of Apocalypse was not comic accurate, and it was pretty bad. Just like Days of Future Past was not comic accurate, and it was amazing. Civil War wasn't comic accurate, and it was amazing. Infinity War had quite a few differences, but in essence, it was the adaptation of the comic, and it was amazing. So it's all execution, and stuff that translates in the pages of the comics doesn't necessarily translate on screen. They are different
it's like
mediums of storytelling.
Thing.
Yeah. So I don't ever want to see anything that is comic accurate for the sake of being faithful. I want creators to have creative liberty.
What is the most comic accurate movie you've ever seen?
Ooh, probably the first Avengers, because it takes so much from the Ultimates.
Okay, I would agree with that. Deadpool would
Off the
probably
top
be
of my
one of
head,
mine.
Deadpool
Deadpool's
would
like the one
be
off the top of my head.
like the story in Deadpool is pretty original. Like the
Yeah.
character himself, yeah, absolutely straight from the comics. Logan is, I mean, you don't have the Hulk, you don't have Hawkeye, but essentially, like that's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. GKP, with the announcements of Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3, do you think we'll get the rest of the Deadpool casts, minus TJ Miller, of course, to come back, and even some of the Fox X-Men cast to have cameos? So we essentially heard all the first parts of this question when it comes to the rest of the Deadpool cast. But do we think the Fox X-Men have cameos? 10%? I give it 10%. What about you?
I think there's a higher chance of seeing other cameos from other Fox Marvel movies, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Like, just because
Sure,
it's super meta. Like, yeah, I could see him
Chris
going
Evans
in and just
shows up as Human Torch. That's when he comes back as Human Torch.
Let me say this though. I would not be shocked if he gets to the MCU early on, or is going through other portals or something. I don't fucking know, but to some extent where maybe we see variant versions of other characters, you know, that we already know. So who's one actor from the MCU you would love to see in this film? Just, you only get one, like the one that has like that awesome moment with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Maybe Star-Lord?
Really? Okay. I was going to say Captain America.
Nah, I don't want that. I don't know why, honestly, but I don't want that. GKP, what's a film where you watch a character on screen and based on their personality and mannerisms, you went, man, that's me? So many. Seb from La La Land, Katie from Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Thor, a lot. And the more I think about Thor's journey as a character, like a fucking lot. Yeah. So that's a few. Zach?
The hamster from G Fuel. Or not G Fuel, G Force.
Which one?
All of them. It's just all of them. Feels like me,
right.
man. Yeah.
GKP, do you think people are getting their hopes up too high about Secret Wars, expecting tons of cameos, not just from Toby and Andrew, whoops, and thinking Hugh Jackman's going to come back for it, but a lot of other cameos from the MCU, non-Marvel movies?
We kind of talked about this.
We kind of talked about this. Other non-MCU Marvel movie characters in Secret Wars? I don't think so, because that's the thing. Kevin Feige, at least so far, he has always given us fan service in favor of the story, never at the cost of the story. So I wouldn't count on it because, I mean, Twitter can say what it wants, but nobody is clamoring to see the original Fantastic Four cast. Nobody's clamoring to see Jessica Alba come back as Sue Storm in Secret Wars. And Secret Wars shouldn't be about that. Yeah. It'd be cool to see one or two to get that moment. Oh, Wolverine and Tobey Maguire are on the screen together, and add that to the story. Don't just have that for us to clap because it's shiny.
Yeah, no one wants Toby Kebbell's Doctor Doom back. Sorry, I love
exactly.
Toby,
Trash Doom, Doctor Doom.
You know who I could see? Ghost Rider. I could see Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. If they really wanted to do another one, I could see Kevin being like, if it's in service of the story, being like, everyone loves Nicolas Cage. Let's.
And Sam Elliott as the other Ghost Rider and the horse.
Dude, I remember though. I don't like that movie, but that was a fucking cool ass moment.
I like the first movie. I enjoy the first movie for all its cheesiness.
I never saw the second one though. I never saw.
Yeah, don't. He pisses fire for some reason. GKP, what is a great scene in a bad movie? And don't make a sarcastic answer or go with an intentionally funny moment, like an actual good, genuine moment in a film you hated. That's tough.
I have one right off the top of my head.
Go.
I think a lot of Blonde's production design is fucking exquisite. Like,
true, but what is a good scene? Like, what is a good scene in that moment, in that movie?
My favorite scene is when Morbius ended, like the very ending of it. Does that count?
It doesn't end. It doesn't have an ending. It just stops.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. I'm trying to find a movie I didn't like and a scene I liked in it, and trying not to do a sarcastic comment. Oh, you know what? X-Men Origins Wolverine, I really like the Gambit scene against Wolverine.
That's a good scene.
And that's not a good and Last Stand, I like the conversations between Charles and Eric in that. Those are always fun. So yeah, just came to mind. Gico EP. The more I think about the third act of Don't Worry, Darling, the more I think it brings down the rest of the movie, leaving you with more questions than answers. What's a film in your opinion that you were liking up to a point until the third act comes and something happens that affected the movie in a bad way? I know this has happened a ton before, and of course I'm not remembering any particular one, so I'm going to search through my Letterboxd until Zach comes in and he lets us know what he thinks.
Only in the third act? Only in the third act?
Like in the third act, something happens and it brings the movie down. A normal amount, a big amount, a small amount, anything.
Nothing of this year lately that like...
know
what? I have one. Duel. I didn't like Duel's ending. Duel's ending killed it for me.
Duel I didn't like Duel.
I liked everything up
until
until
not necessarily the third act for me. But you're right. I do agree, though.
That one.
You know what? I'm not finding one that exactly corresponds to your question, but I will say this. It's not the third act, but it's the second act. Matrix Resurrections. The first act of that movie, where he leaves you with that uncertainty. Oh shit, was this a dream that he fabricated in his entire head? Did he create these hallucinations of the Matrix reality? And leaves you with that ambiguity. I thought the rest of the movie was going to be explore this character on a deeper level in that sense, and then just turns to another basic Matrix movie. So that's going to be my answer for now.
Yep.
Nathan Holton, thoughts on Harrison Ford as Red Hulk rumors? No legitimate rumors regarding him as Red Hulk, but there are legitimate rumors regarding him as General Thunderbolt Ross. And I will tell you this is the casting that I never expected. This is inspired, and I love to see it. Do I think, as of right now, that it will actually come true? And I did no deep dive research into this. I don't know. I think they've replaced Thunderbolt Ross with Val when it comes to the Thunderbolts and all that, even though they kept the name for some reason. But it wouldn't be cool to call them the Vals. But I would really like to see this happen. I just don't know.
Maybe Val and Thunderbolt Ross have a past.
Maybe she likes him. It's like, I'm going to name you after my former lover. I
can add a little bit more to this rumor because I dove into this because I was actually kind of curious. So the rumor is he is casted. The reason it was not announced at D23 is because Lucasfilm asked them to not give the announcement because they wanted the focus on Harrison as Indy 5. So that's why. Apparently, it is a done deal, but Lucasfilm did ask to not do it yet.
All right. I know someone asked this question, so here are my suggestions for directors who could do Blade, and some might be a long shot, and you guys might have mentioned some of these. All right, Zach, let's do agree
Rapid
or
fire.
disagree.
Okay.
Stephen Caple Jr. I like to see that.
Yep.
Shaka King.
Fuck yes.
Great director. The only reason I don't necessarily think he's a good fit, I haven't seen him do action. But if he did, in Feige we trust. Chad Stahelski has suggested Gina Prince Bythewood. Bythewood.
I said that one.
I think that's a good choice. S. Craig Zeller, maybe. I don't know that it's the right fit, though. I like both of the movies mentioned.
I would love Craig to do it. My problem is Craig is a director that wants like full control.
Yeah.
So he would not do it.
You want to know a director who would not do it? Gareth Evans. Absolutely no fucking way he does it. And I'm not saying this as an insult, but the action in the MCU is incredibly tame compared to The Raid and The Raid 2 and what is coming out soon, Havoc. So there's absolutely no fucking chance he does it.
I wouldn't say no fucking chance, but I don't see it. But he would.
I will tell you right now, no fucking chance. He didn't even come back to Gangs of London season 2 because he did not have the creative control. So.
Oh, okay.
And finally, Barry Jenkins. You and I suggested this ever before Bassam Tariq was announced, and I still like it.
Yep. I agree with that one. Yeah, I would like that.
GeekOAP, with all the controversy surrounding Amsterdam because David O. Russell and his abusive behavior over the years, and people calling out the actors Margot Robbie and Taylor Swift for being hypocritical. Now that you've seen Amsterdam, I gotta ask you something at the end of this question. For working him after all those allegations and with them being very vocal about feminism in Hollywood, when is it okay to like a movie even though the person who made it is a piece of shit? Separate art from the artist when someone has a hard time dealing with that. It just depends on person to person. I have no problem separating art from the artist, and as much as I can like a movie, I will still recognize that if the person is a piece of shit, they are a piece of shit. So I'm sure after the promotional material, they will come out and say, I will never work with this guy again, blah, blah. But the thing is, for now, as much as I believe the allegations, they are just allegations. So, yeah. Zach?
I don't know. It depends on it. Like, I mean, there is allegations against him, and there's also some shit that's, like, pretty crazy. I'll be honest, I think this is the last movie he's made. At least in the public square with a big cast like this. I think there's too much out there now. Specifically in the last year that's kind of came out. When this movie was being made, it was, people still knew. But let me tell you right now, I can guarantee you there's probably a lot of celebrities that we all love that are probably pieces of shit behind. That are doing despicable shit that eventually might come out one day. And the thing is, would that ruin it for you? Like, would that ruin for you? Maybe for sure. But I don't know. It's tough. I don't think it's fair to call out other people because we don't know the situation of why they're in that movie. What if it's something they didn't have a choice of? Like actors. I mean, Hollywood's kind of a despicable fucking place. If you start looking into it, it's not fucking sunshine and roses. Like, so I don't know. I don't like looking at that. I just go into a movie to watch it. Like, there are a few movies that I will not support because of like certain people, like the Jeepers Creepers director. I refuse to watch any more of those movies. And in fact, when I bought the Blu-rays for the first one, I bought it through a secondary market because I did not want to give him money. Like that's just the honest. So that's how that's.
All right. GeekOEP, when do you guys think we'll catch back up with some of the characters we left off in Phase 4? Where will we see Spider-Man next? I think Spider-Man 4, if it is before Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars. If not, Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. How's Doctor Strange dealing with the incursions with Clea? Phase 6. Phase 6 is still an open slate before it closes out. Saving the captured Eternals from the Celestials, I will give the same answer. I think Phase 6. Zach, feel free to jump in at any point.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
So. Just playing it safe. How's Shang-Chi and Katie along with Clint and Kate? Clint and Kate, I think, just in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Shang-Chi and Katie, back to the Phase 6, still an open slate answer. Where does Moon Knight come into this after that ending? I mean, our guess was going to be Blade, but now they got to readjust.
Season 2. He's going to get Season 2. Probably in Phase 6.
Thor now dealing with being a dad and fighting Hercules. That's either Thor 5 or the Hercules thing gets thrown out for a little bit and we see him in Avengers Kang Dynasty. Hell, if that post-credit scene with Jane in Valhalla is supposed to set up something, maybe for Thor 5. No. I think so. No?
I don't think so. I think we see her come back in Secret Wars, but I think she's done after that.
Yeah. Will this happen in Phase 6, or will they add more to Phase 5, or save some for the next phase in the after the multiverse saga? I think some of them could be added till after, but in regards to when we see all of them, there will for sure be in Kang Dynasty and Secret
I think
Wars.
something to keep in mind is when you look at Phase 6, every date that was on that board is only movies. Those weren't shows. So a lot of these could be dealt in shows. A lot of these could be dealt in other ways. A lot of these could be dealt in those movies. For all we know, the Eternals won't come back till Kang Dynasty. Maybe they're a major part of the Kang Dynasty story, and maybe it's a different adaptation. But Clint and Kate, if we see them beforehand, it'll be in the Young Avengers thing that has been fucking rumored for months and years.
And that is not going to happen.
Spider-Man's going to get his own solo film, probably in Phase 5 or Phase 6. And the reason I say that is because Sony is it's literally on Sony. Like Sony is the one that sets that date, and then Marvel works around them. I would not be shocked if they know what they're going to do with the next Spider-Man film, but I think their conversation with that next Spider-Man film is, well, what do we do after No Way Home? Knowing Sony, they're going to want to go bigger and bolder. In my opinion, they should go smaller. And Kevin Feige has talked about that Spider-Man and Daredevil are street-level heroes going into this next phase. So, yeah.
All right. Jigo P, thoughts on Armor Wars now becoming a movie? Excited. Don Cheadle gets to headline a major Marvel movie. That's good news in my book.
Any guesses of who else might show up in there? It's like other heroes. Sharon. I was also going to say
more
Riri.
Heroes.
Probably Riri, Ironheart.
Riri? I wouldn't be shocked at all if she shows up.
Do you think they're going to change it and make her inspiration be War Machine instead of Tony?
No, because she's already into that by Black Panther. So by the time Armor Wars comes out, she's already inspired. So I think she's still inspired by Tony.
Okay.
And please bring back Justin Hammer. Please bring back Justin Hammer.
I mean, who would be the villain? I mean, that's where you have it at. Like,
I don't know what happens to MODOK at the end of Ant-Man 3. If he dies in the quantum realm, guess who pitched that to Marvel? So, but anyway,
I'm gonna laugh my ass off when I watch Ant-Man 3. I'm like,
by the time Ant-Man 3 comes out, we're gonna have a show just called Marvel Stole Ant-Man 3 from Me. Stole the idea for Ant-Man 3 from me.
Are you gonna go back all the way to that video and clip what your pitch?
I can.
I think you should. I think you should and post it on Twitter.
It was so hot that summer. I'm all sweaty. My hair is all over the place. I was doing that show with sleeveless shirts. I'm not saying that as a bad thing, just an observation. Eric Thorpe, what are you guys' prediction for best drama nominees at the Emmys next year? No idea. And who do you think will win? I just think the next Emmys is particularly relevant in the geek community since it's likely going to be full of stuff we love, House of Dragon and maybe Last of Us, etc. I mean, those two, sure, but apart from that, I don't know. I'm just not aware what's coming out, what's coming back for another season in time for those Emmys. I'm sure they're going to nominate Succession again, and Succession is a show I don't watch. Better Call Saul, I think the second half of the last season is eligible for next year's Emmys and all that, so I have no idea. I have no good answer for this, so I apologize. Zach, I can confirm that the Game of Thrones convention in LA in December is being put on by WB and HBO themselves. It's the first one ever to have been. Any interest? I know the answer is probably no still, but just thought I'd confirm that and check again.
I'm not going.
Still, all right. Eric Thorpe, how have they not announced a 4K set of all 25 of the?
They got to retransfer them all
for the 60th anniversary, because now they belong to Amazon, and Amazon for now wants that exclusivity. But I understand that you want that nice collection with all the ones available, because 24 is not a good number for a collection. 25 is a good number for a collection. Eric Thorpe reviews. Also, people seem to be convinced Superman is in Black Adam. Like, could it be Henry? And we are going to pass on this question. Unless you want to say something, Zach?
I'm not going to talk about
it. We're going to pass on this question.
You can just kind of guess what our thoughts
that gives you an answer. I mean, us passing on the question gives you an answer. So, all right. Eric Thorpe reviews. How hyped are you guys finally getting to the point in House of the Dragon where you haven't seen it yet? I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I will be watching it tonight before it comes out because we're still getting them. I wonder if we're getting the finale because I was kind of worried because I had gotten up to 6 like right away before the show ever came out, even episode 1. So this week was the one where I was like, are they going to send me episode 7? What's up? What's up, HBO? And then they did send it. I just haven't had time to watch it, but I will. There's different scenes of Way of Water at different showings of the release, Zach. That's awesome. If so, I'm seeing the re-release for the second time tonight.
Yeah, so I thought it. Oh, okay. I don't know how many different scenes they have. I saw 2 different scenes though. Both pretty much just showing the visual effects. I mean, it is insane. And the 3D for the second one I saw was better than the first one. But I don't know. Well, I don't know if this is why though. So the reason I say this is because they first showing I saw was in the high frame rate. So a lot of the movie was in 48 frames per second or whatever that fucking higher frame rate is. The second time I saw it didn't have that frame rate. And I liked it a lot more without the frame rate change. So don't know.
Alrighty. Last 4 questions. Diminishing Scott, Ren and Zach, with the year 2023 coming, what are your remaining plans for the remaining year? For this remaining year, I keep watching movies, keep making videos, survive. I don't know. Nothing concrete right now. LFF is coming, so I got that to deal with. So yeah, that's it. Zach,
I just need to stay alive till September 2024.
what's in
that's
September 2024?
Wolverine.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. Because you guys switched the dates around. I keep thinking June 9th, 2024. No, it's okay. So yeah, member of the channel MSP. Question more for Zach and Ren, since you, my friend, keep delaying watching the Rings of Power. I just don't have time. I can't prioritize the stuff that I'm not covering week to week. I apologize. And also
you would have made a video on this week's. I promise you. You would have watched it and been like, yeah.
I'm sure, but I didn't catch the first 2 in time because I was at Venice and because they did not give me screeners. And so then I covered those first 2, and I'll at least watch the rest of this first season. But I just can't prioritize it, particularly this upcoming week. I'm sure you two won't be watching episode 8 when it comes out this week. So Zach, are you worried the Rings of Power might become too gory/violent? In this latest episode, no spoilers of course, we got a scene that, well, seemed a bit too extreme for what we're familiar with in Lord of the Rings. Do you think the showrunners are aware of their limits and are just going to stretch it a little bit thin? Or should we be worried that they might go way overboard?
Go brutal. I don't give a fuck. Start fucking chomp it off, rip off hobbits' heads and shit, throw them against the wall. I don't Harfoots. I don't care. Personally, for me, I don't care. I'm not versed into Lord of the Rings as much as many other people are. I've read the books once.
He's like super hardcore.
Yeah, and every time he's messaged me, he's talked about it. So like, your point of view and like a lot of my friends were super.
You're messaging Zach? How dare you? How dare you private message Zach?
He's got to talk. You got to talk spoilers, man.
I know.
We can't talk them with
kidding.
you. So the whole thing with that is, from my point of view to yours, it's very different. You're gonna not want that. Where for me, I'm like, I could give it or take it. Fuck, man, you want to rip a Harfoot's foot off and throw it against another person and start beating him over the head with it?
With him. All right. MSB, with a recent move, and he's recently moved to Sweden, so good luck with that and congratulations. I have a lot to catch up on. Of these films, which would you highly recommend watching, and which one would you say, you can skip it? So, Zach, let's do either watch it or skip it. See how they run? Watch it, for sure.
Watch it.
Smile? Watch it, for sure.
Yep.
Blonde? Skip. Hard skip. Yep. Don't Worry, Darling? I say watch it.
Yep. I didn't see this next one.
Greatest beer run ever? I say watch it because it's on streaming. If it was in theaters, I might say sure, watch it, but do the other ones first.
Did you watch it? Did you get a screener for it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I never got it. They only offered us theater. Oh, okay. Like they would not load it into my account. I was like, okay,
then I'm not a thing here. I don't.
Yeah,
think I
flat out told them I'm not gonna review it then. Like if you are not gonna send it, I'm not going to the theaters to see this movie.
Ticket to Paradise, watch it. I'm shocked I'm saying that, but watch it. Have a good time. Fall, I haven't seen it, but I really want to. I'm not going to be able to catch it in the theaters, and it looks like it's a theater experience, but for all I've heard, it is watch it, but I can't give an answer on this one. Did you watch Fall?
No, but I heard it was better than expected.
Yeah, exactly, same. DC Super Pets, skip it. Don't Make Me Go. You know what? This is one of those films where the third act really killed it for me. So this actually answers Geek OVP's question. Don't Make Me Go, up until the third act, I would say watch it. That would have made it in my top 20 movies of the year.
I have no idea what this is.
It's the John Cho movie on Prime. It's so good. I talked to you about it at the time, that the ending takes a turn, and I'm like,
okay. Now I'm starting to remember what this is. Yeah.
So yeah, this one is kind of complicated because up until the very ending, I'm like, watch it for sure, and then it takes it down quite a few notches. Bodies. I didn't love it, but I'll say watch it because now it's on streaming as well. So watch it for sure. Zach?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I didn't love it.
Watcher is also kind of it's a good watch. Again, because it's on streaming, but I wouldn't prioritize it. I wouldn't be in a rush. Did you watched at Sundance, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't think it's perfect, but I think the direction and the performance is really good.
Yeah. Adam Project, watch it. I really like Adam Project. Quite enjoy that one. Zach?
Yeah, really surprising.
Ren and Zach, what is your trilogy that you will defend until the end of time? None that.
How about just
I'm
movies? How about just movies?
Movies that will. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder, Eternals. Again, I don't want to just do MCU.
Serenity.
The Sun. The other Serenity for me. the 2005 Serenity for me. But yeah. All right, and that is it for this Week in Geek. Thank you all so much for watching. Big shout out to channel member MSB. Thank you all for your incredible questions. Gave us a ton of topics to talk about. I don't know if we're going to have a show next week because I believe I have 2 movies and I will not be able to be home on time to do the show. What might happen is I might be at home during the time of the show. So even though I can't probably make the show because I got to prepare reviews and all that, I might have you, Zach, do the show with maybe our good friend Patrick if he's available and wants to do it, or anyone else who's able to co-host with you. So if that's okay with you, because I might be struggling. And the next Saturday as well, because that's the Saturday the 15th, I have Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and Till. I don't know what Till is, but those are 2 movies. And so I don't know if I'll be able to make it on time. So for the next weeks, I might be able to be here to lay everything out and allow Zach to do the show, but I might not be here. So just to let you guys know. But anyway, until then, be prepared for a ton of LFF reviews and other videos outside of that, like House of the Dragon Episode 7, The Midnight Club, Amsterdam, and I might be able to watch Weird this week and even Emily before LFF begins. And
is Weird coming out? Weird Al Yankovic?
No, they have an advanced screening here.
Oh, that's cool.
And I might do She-Hulk and Andor as shorts this week. But other than that, tons of videos coming up. Zach, do you have anything you wanna plug coming up?
Just more movie reviews as usual. I don't really have anything.
More movie reviews on both our channels. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And until the next one, love each other and love the movies. Bye.